Now let's talk about advertising price options. So if you go to buy media, you're going to buy some ads across the internet. You have to know how they price them, and sometimes networks price them differently. So you've probably heard of PPC or CPC. This is cost per click or pay per click. That's what AdWords is. That's pretty much what Facebook ads are primarily. You're agreeing to pay a certain amount. I'll pay 25 cents per click. So every visitor that comes to your site, when they clicked on the ad, that's how much you're getting charged. Many of these ad networks do cost per click, so you can buy it that way. However, many of them also do not. So what they prefer is what's called CPM. Now, CPM stands for cost per thousand impressions. You'd think it would stand for CPT because thousand, but it's CPM. I think it's a term that comes from the printing press days. But 1,000 impressions is what CPM is. So if you buy a banner ad at $3 CPM, that means for $3, your ad will show 1,000 times. Doesn't mean anyone will click on it, but you're going to get 1,000 showings of the ad for the CPM price. So an impression is like a showing, how many times it's displayed. CPA is cost per acquisition. Some networks will do this where you can say, I'll pay $20 for every customer that I get. It's more like an affiliate networking model. But in order to get networks to do this with you, you have to have a proven offer and all kinds of other things. I don't recommend it. It's usually more of a pain in the butt than it is something that is kind of smooth sailing, I should say. It also doesn't scale well. Just because one network will do CPA, others won't. So I wouldn't even go there. If you can't make the metrics behind pay-per-click and, of course, CPM work, then CPA doesn't even matter. So you got to figure out how to dial those in. Now, a term you really need to know is effective CPM. That is where you can take cost per click prices and based on a click-through rate of how much an ad got clicked on, you reverse engineer and use that math to figure out a CPM rate. So all the networks, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, all that stuff, all they're really doing scientifically is figuring out how to get the highest effective CPM rate. Google AdWords in their system, they're not trying to get the highest amount per click because an ad that's 50 cents that gets clicked on 10 times for an ad that's $1 that only gets clicked on twice for every 10 times the other one gets clicked on, one makes $2 for them, one is generating $5. The lower cost per click one actually makes them more money for every web page that loads when someone searches Google. So all the math and science, it's the same thing on on Facebook. They're all trying to maximize the effective CPM rate because that's the only thing they control is how many pages are being displayed. And so that's their main control of maximizing their money for each page that's displayed across their site, not how many times someone clicks on an ad or anything else. So to calculate the effective CPM rate, you simply take the number of clicks and then you multiply it times the cost per click price to get an effective CPM rate. So in my example here, if a banner ad showed 1,000 times and it had a click-through rate of 1%, so if you're getting a 1% CTR on your ad, that means 10 out of 1,000 showings, because 1% of 1,000 is 10, you'd get 10 clicks every 1,000 times the ad would be displayed. Well, the 10 clicks times a 10-cent cost per click or pay per click would equal $1. So if a network was charging 10 cents a click and you ran your ad and got a 1% click-through rate, they're generating an effective CPM rate of $1. Now, why this is important for you to know is you want to be able to reverse engineer your own effective CPM rates to figure out if things are worth it or not. Sometimes these ad networks, you can buy both. You can buy pay-per-click prices or you can buy CPM prices. Well, if you can figure out what your effective CPM rate is, oftentimes you can save money by knowing that $5 CPM is actually cheaper than the 25-cent click-through rate. I mean, the 25-cent pay-per-click cost, because you know you have an ad that's awesome, that gets a 4% click-through rate. And so you know that if you had to pay per click, you're going to pay a lot more than just $5 CPM. So that's why you'll want to know how to reverse engineer that number. Now, the most common ad sizes across all these ad networks is 300 by 250. They call that, the other name for it is a medium rectangle. It's essentially like a square, but it's slightly rectangle. And then the leaderboard, which is basically like a really long banner ad, is 728 by 90. But about a third of all online advertising across these billions and billions of impressions on all these websites, about a third is the 300 by 250 rectangle size. A little less than that, but still up there, so that's about 33%. About 30% or so would be the 728 by 90 longer kind of banner ads. But there's so much inventory available for the 300 by 250 kind of rectangle square, I think you should just stick with that. Of course, if you exhaust a traffic network that has really good dialed-in demographics, has a great vertical you can pick from, that's flooding your site with business and convertible traffic, well, then you may want to venture into doing the 728 by 90 kind of long banner ad. But you do have some kind of managerial problems with marketing-wise with that format, because it's long and skinny, and you can't kind of use big images and some other things that you can with the 300 by 250. The 300 by 250 medium rectangle is so popular because you can do so much with it. And in this module, I'm going to show you here in some upcoming lessons actual proven ads that are running right now across the internet, millions of impressions, and they're getting good response rates. And we're going to take a look at and analyze the designs on what people have done with that 300 by 250 pixels to give you some ideas on what you can do with your own. But those are some terms and calculations you're going to need to know to figure out these advertising price options when buying media on these networks.